My name is George Wendell II. I would like to quote a news release from the official state website by the Department of by the Department of Tourism and Marketing. And it reads, Vermont scores high in National Geographic's stewardship ranking. Vermont has been named one of the best rated places in the world for stewardship and authenticity by the National Geographic Society. The 6th annual Survey of Destination Stewardship conducted by the National Geographic Society Center for Sustainable Destinations ranked Vermont 5th in the world and 1st in the United States. The rankings are published in the November-December issue of the National Geographic Travelers magazine. The National Geographic Society conducted a complex global survey of 437 panelists in a sustainable tourism and destination quality. They looked specifically at 6 categories, including environmental and ecological qualities, social and cultural integrity, conditions of historic buildings and archaeological sites, aesthetics appeal, quality of tourism, management, and outlook of the future. We're incredibly honored to be ranked as a top destination in the world, said Vermont Tourism and Marketing Commissioner Bruce Hyde. Vermont has worked tremendously hard to preserve its natural resources and scenic beauty. So, my question to you, the Public Service Board, will you allow this wind turbine project, which will not preserve the scenic beauty of Georgia Mountains Ridgeline, or any other ridgeline in this great state of Vermont that is obviously revered by our nation and the world? Or will you stop this project and all others of its kind to save the scenic beauty that Vermont's economic foundation is built on, which is tourism? You gentlemen have the power to stop this environmentally destructive project in its tracks. I would like there to be no confusion in my next statement. I do not support wind turbines. Not in my backyard, not in my family's backyard, not in my neighbor's backyard, not in Vermont. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heidi Fitzgerald. Just a few things. At the last public hearing held in Georgia, I listened to a lot of people in support of this project say that we need to do this for our children and their future. I stand in opposition to this project for that reason, for my children and the generations to follow. Most of us who live in Vermont live here by choice. We enjoy the rural atmosphere and the scenic beauty that sets Vermont apart from other places. I want my children to be able to enjoy that as well. Some people believe that wind turbines are beautiful. Personally, I am not one of them. But some people try to say these wind turbines are no different than the power lines or ski lifts that disrupt their views from their homes. This is not a reasonable comparison. I know the Public Service Board knows, but I think some of the public are confused about the size of the turbines. So to clarify, these wind turbines cannot be compared to the other turbines one may see around schools, businesses, or in backyards. These are industrial-sized turbines and will be 443 feet tall in total height. In order to visualize this, the tallest structure in Vermont is the Bennington Battle Monument, which stands at 306 feet tall. So then you take the 443-foot turbines and place it on a 1,400-foot mountaintop. These turbines will dominate the landscape for miles around. Another is the proposed location of 3 of these turbines are a mere 150 feet away from the boundary line of adjoining landowners. This is just not logical. Wind turbines, like any machines, are subject to accidents and failure and can put neighboring homes and properties at risk. Each of these turbines also hold gallons of oil that is changed on a yearly basis. with also the possibility of leakage of oil that can contaminate the water supplies of surrounding landowners. The specific project would be in direct violation of the local zoning regulations, which specifically protects the Georgia Mountain Ridge line and states that no structure or building shall be visible above the existing tree line. Unfortunately, this is not an issue that has been put up to town vote as to whether this project should go forward. It is up to the three of you to determine if the minimal amount of energy this project may produce is worth the cost of the community. And just a side note, I know that earlier it was mentioned about, someone had mentioned about putting their nest egg into this project, the Harrisons having to put the nest egg into this project. Well, unfortunately, all adjoining landowners are having to try and fight this without the assistance of grants or money that are subsidized by taxpayers to fight this project. So I hope that you look at all the evidence and all the landowners' feelings on this and understand that this project will be seen by hundreds of people within a 3-mile radius and affect their property values and their way of life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erica Burrell and I live in Georgia, and I spoke at the last meeting, and I will try not to repeat myself, but I honestly don't remember exactly what I said last time. What I want to say this time is that I am still in opposition to this project, and I know a little bit more about it now. It's been 5 months that I've been researching this, and my main opposition to this particular project is that the siting of the turbines are too close to where I personally live and my neighbors live. Our house, and we're not the closest ones, are within a mile of the closest turbine, and we're downwind from it. And as anybody who lives in Vermont knows, sound does funny things in the mountains. And I don't believe the studies that say that we are not going to hear sound that's going to disrupt our lifestyles. I'm very sensitive. I can hear if my sleep is disrupted at night, it's going to majorly affect my life. And in that vein, if we happen to have problems, we have no recourse. There's nowhere to go. We would have to hire attorneys and sue somebody if we find we cannot live in our house anymore. And that I find very distressing in this process. And then the other thing I'd like to say on a broader scale is, I agree with what most people in opposition most people who are for this have said, that we do need to come up with solutions for cleaner energy for Vermont. But if we're going to invest in wind turbines, little projects like this don't do much. We really would have to go whole hog. And if we're going to go whole hog, then I think there needs to be a wider discussion among the residents in Vermont about where we want to site these. Do we want to give up our ridge lines? Because let's face it, the ridge lines are where it has to go. The other place they could go is on Lake Champlain. So people who are for turbines, I hope they consider if they would like to be looking at turbines off the shores of Lake Champlain. And I would say that the land where they're putting these turbines might be in private hands, but the views belong to all of us in Vermont, and I think everybody should have a say. And a little project like this just adds very little to our energy needs. It's not going to do much, and the risk to me and my neighbors is just too high. Thank you.
I won't repeat what I said in Georgia. Hi, my name is Kevin Wimble. I'm a lifelong resident of Georgia Mountain. I want to thank you for the opportunity for us to share our opinions about the proposed wind project on Georgia Mountain. I'm not here tonight to say not in my backyard. I'm here tonight to simply say not in anybody's backyard, and definitely not in Vermont. Let's all work together to keep Vermont green. Let's not spoil our beautiful mountaintops and breathtaking views by cluttering them with a proposed 400+ foot, which would be 443-foot wind turbines. And it's white, and they stick out. They don't look good against green. We, the surrounding residents of the proposed project, are not here just as victims. The entire state is a victim. Thank you.